Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are coming back to the tournament series, and I don't know if you watched it or not, but I had a whole series covering the 9-week cycle of the tournaments. But unfortunately, or fortunately for some people, the tournament have been changed, so it's quite different right now. So the previous tutorials are not super applicable anymore. So time to start a new one, and we'll start from the beginning this time around, Marble Tournament. And we'll do it in a similar fashion as the last time. I'm not going to be talking about the tournament changes per se. There's a lot of information on the forums, in the wiki, and probably quite a few people already played 1 or 2 cycles. So if there's anything to that, I'll mention it as we go. But let's focus on the actually fighting in the tournament, and the way my setup is happening right now is also changed. So previously I would be running up to 2-star provinces, second stage, 50 provinces. And the rest was what, about 12, I guess, 12 to 9 in the province 6, so around 6. And now it's not really particularly feasible to do anymore because the difficulty ramp up with the province number is very high, certainly more than I want to take on. And so what is one to do if you want to harvest KPs, just which was pretty much the primary reason why I was doing it that way in the previous tournament. So getting all these second stage KPs up to province 50, which is not exactly feasible anymore. Well, my setup now is doing 5 rounds up to 24. So it's not as far as 50, but at the same I'm going all the way down to stage 5 with these 24 provinces. And then clean it up in stage 9, just with the 9, not really important. So what that gives me is almost the same number of points as I had before, so it's about 5,500. And comparable number of goodies that I would get along the way, in particular KPs. It's lower number, but still comparable. I don't remember quite on top of my head what the numbers line up, but well, you can check it out, and I'll put it up in my website post, where I will also put some numbers on the losses and more specific information in terms of how each of the tournament rounds or the relic types went. So without further ado, so let's jump in, and as you can see right now, I already did rounds 1 to 4, so now we're in round 5, which is the last full round here for 24, because that would be the most difficult 24, so let's see how that goes. So again, to cover the general setup, what I have right now in terms of the boosts, well, in terms of permanent boosts, I finally have upgraded my Martial Monastery up to level 30, so it's maxed out. That gives 30% extra health. My Fire Phoenix is fed, so that's plus 50% damage bonus on all unit types. And all my damage boosting Ancient Wonders are, well, from level 12 to level 14, so pretty close to 20% for every unit type out there. So there's that. What else? In terms of the temporary boosts, well, already mentioned Fire Phoenix, but in terms of the buildings, this is probably the easiest tournament. Probably I have tried with the same boost, same number of provinces the whole previous cycle, and it was the easiest tournament out there, the Marble. So I only put out one enhanced light range, ELR, so that's plus 50% for light range, because we will be using quite a few light range units, in particular Dryads and Forest Wardens. And I didn't even put out Magnificent Mage Multiplier, MMM, for plus 50% to mages, even though if you can afford it, or you want to afford it, you can, it would be helpful in this tournament, but realistically you don't, well, I don't need to do that, so I choose to save it for some harder tournaments, which is pretty much all other ones. And so what else? Yes, and I still put out one Unleashed unit upgrade for plus 25% extra health, as I do for at least as much for every tournament, because yeah, that's tough. Especially in the new tournaments, the losses are going to be high, much higher than we used to have in terms of the well, squad, well, basically a number of units if you want. So again, I will post the actual numbers in terms of the losses with more detailed breakdown, because it's a little bit hard to describe over the video. I'll post some charts and some explanations to that. So let's see how we can do in the marble tournament and what's out there. So let's just jump into it. And as you may or may not know, the first few provinces in pretty much any round, including 5-star, are very easy. You can literally put pretty much any unit types out there against whatever is out there, and because you have such an overwhelming advantage in terms of the squad size, yeah, you're gonna win, and that's gonna be easy. But nevertheless, let's look what the opponents are. Okay, so here we have 3 heavy melee, 1 heavy range, and everyone's favorite Mistwalker, so light range unit with the highest initiative in the game. So, and again, the reason I'm spending that much time because you have the same matchups later on, and yeah, there it would matter a lot more. So here, what are our options? Basically, we can go with the mage units, which in this case would be Blossom Princess, and it will do really well even later on, even though later on, because of the Mistwalker, we are going to take a noticeable hit there, but it's not going to be huge by any means. We can also go with one of the line range unit, probably with the Poison Dryad, because they're really good against the heavy range, sorry, heavy melee, and they would do okay against the Mistwalkers. But as in one counter unit, we also have the heavy ranged, well, Orc Deserter, which is actually bad against light range. But again, in this case, I would generally go with the Blossom Princess, because it will do really well against these 4 heavy units. And yeah, you will later on take some damage from the Mistwalker, but yeah, probably 5 to 10% overall. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, you see even here, because again, Mistwalkers shoot first, like literally not much you can do about that. You're gonna take some damage. But in absolute terms, it's very small. In relative terms, that's kind of what you can see. Alright, so let's see. And yeah, again, the usual setup applies as in the previous series. I'm doing everything on automatic fight. One reason it's faster. People on the players on the tablet and any mobile devices don't even have an option of manual fight. Manual fight is going to be slow, even though, as you may notice now, that's a big and one of the few positive changes in this tournament. We only have 1 encounter per province, so generally speaking, that goes much faster. That also means a single crappy matchup later on in the provinces can wipe out a lot of troops in one go. Alright, so here we go again. 3 heavies and 2 light melee, which are technically good against mages, but not really. Or we can go with the heavy range, like golems in this case. And then the counter unit here would be not good against heavy range. So here we can go actually with our frogs. So frogs are excellent against light melee. They're okay against other heavy range, not so good later on. But against the heavy melee, they also do well simply because they have a huge range And heavy melee had a tiny movement speed and range, so by the time they get there, generally speaking, yeah, it's over. Even for nominally, they are good against heavy range. Even then, this particular one is not particularly good. All right, so let's see. Yeah, and as you can see, no losses here even. Again, just a word of caution, later on that's not going to be the case. Okay, so what do we have here? All right, that's again one of the easy matchups, so you can go with the Blossom Princesses, and they would do well against obviously heavy melee. They would take some damage from Mistwalker, not so much, but remember we don't have in this particular playthrough a mage booster out there. So this one I will go straight to Poison Dryad, who are excellent against, as you can see, against heavy melee. And in this particular case, yeah, like plus 90 damage. They have relatively short range, so well, movement range and range, but still definitely more than heavy melee, and they have excellent bonuses against it. And against Mistwalker, well, you're gonna take some, but yeah, you see in this case a lot less than we did last time with Blossom Princesses. Okay, so, but again, for these provinces doesn't really matter, that's still way too early. Okay, again, that's... we have realistically two options here, again, light range or mages, and again, you will notice that unlike the previous tournament types, then we had fairly specific tournament matchups in terms of the unit types, the enemy unit types, and as such the units what you field against them. It is much less so in the new tournaments, while there's still some, well, how should I put it, peculiarities to each relic type for the tournaments. You will notice that time and again, because there's such a variety of enemy unit types quite often against you, you will have to fall back to the range units, specifically light range, mages, sometimes heavy range. Very infrequently now you will be going for the heavy melee or light melee. It does happen, we'll see that, not so much in this tournament. So okay, so here we can go with the Poison Dryad again, because we only have one mage against us and 3 heavy melee. Unfortunately, our one counter unit is kind of good against light range, so it might not be a bad idea to go with the mages this time around, because they would do okay against other mages. They would do very well against heavy melee, and they actually would do better against light melee units than these particular ones than our light range. So let's go with the Blossom Princess. And as you can see, that did really well. Okay, now. Okay, so that's one of the easy ones. Again, you can go with Poison Dryad, you can go with Blossom Princess, doesn't really matter. I actually tend to go with Blossom Princess here, especially if you have a damage boost. But you see, even then, wasn't really necessary. But again, that's because we're still early on, so that's the first 5 provinces. We still haven't got high star enemies yet. Okay, so that's also not bad. Yeah, we only have one counter unit here for mages, only one mage, and the only counter unit is not particularly good against mages, so we'll go Blossom Princess again. Alright, not bad. Okay, so let's see. Okay, again, that's a good one. Here we'll go with Poison Dryad, because again, both Poison Dryads and Blossom Princess are excellent against heavy melee. Poison Dryads would do better against Mistwalkers, that's for sure. Sorry, that's not actually Mistwalker, that's Bandit, but still. Yeah, these are technically still good against mages, but even less so. So this one really you can do with whatever. I would go with the Poison Dryad here. Yeah, and as you can see again, No issues. Again, we're doing quite a bit better than I expected for around 5 now. That's quite likely means that we're going to have tougher matchups later on, which is bad because our loss is going to be so much more. Okay, in this case, similar to the previous one, but here we're definitely going light range because the only counter unit here, what you can see, happens to be Hellhound, which is Cerberus effectively, which is pretty decent against mages. So if we go with Blossom Princesses, yeah, we're gonna get mauled there a little bit. Again, obviously we're gonna win, but here that's much more, making much more sense to go with a light range unit. Like that, yeah, so we did take some losses. But again, very, very small and even on the relative basis. But remember, like in the higher provinces, even if your relative losses are small, your absolute losses can still be quite significant. Okay, so that's one of these awkward matchups now we're getting into. So none, and that's where I'm getting. In the previous tournament, we had very few awkward matchups like that. Now it's actually quite a bit more when you don't really have quite obvious troop type to field against. Certainly not an automatic. So we can go with the heavy ranged units. So that would give us, so the 2 counter units here are okay against heavy ranged, not, so that may work. This one, the heavy melee, even though generally I don't like to go there, would do okay. It would do really well against light melee. It would do decent against heavy melee. Remember, these are in this case just 2-star units. Mistwalkers, even though they're as light range, they're technically decent against heavy melee. Not the best against heavy melee, they are more mage specialists, but remember, like they are ranged units, they have initiative, and our heavy melee is going to be moving really, really slowly. So we're going to get some damage here. Mage, not amazing option here. Poison Dryad could be an option, but again, 2 counter units, one of them is good against light range. Another one is decent, so like, nah. So in this case, I'll probably go with the heavy range, and I can go with Golem, or I can go with the frogs, and maybe actually even go with the frogs this time around, earlier on. The reason being, yeah, both heavy melee, both heavy range types would do decent against our light units. And 2 technically counter units are heavy melee, which are slow. So by the time they get there, our heavy range, because of the range, will be able to take care of them, especially given the range of the Frog Princess. So let's see. Okay, and you see that's where I kind of started to show that the Frog Princess, later on, I'd say past province 10, 15, are not exactly amazing in these matchups. They're usually golems hold their own quite a bit better. So you see here we basically lost like 20% of the squad, and it's not even super higher up. Yeah, that's just province number 9. So golems might have been a better choice. Okay, in this case I will actually go with heavy melee. By and large, if I see a matchup where I don't have any counter units, or even then these are usually good ones, because normally you don't have losses that are too high. This being melee, we'll still get some, quite a bit of, well, not so much here. Like, yeah, we'll have some losses, that's not huge. But that was, in most cases, if you don't have counter units, go with that. Alright, so let's see what we have here. And again, okay, so we have 1 counter unit for light range and mages, which is Cerberus, or Hellhound. That means mages is not the greatest option, so in this case we have a lot more heavy melee, so we'll go with Poison Dryads. And as you can see, that was pretty decent. Alright, let's see, number 12. Okay, this one again, easy one. You can go with either one, but the Mistwalkers are gonna hit your mages first, and they're good against that, so I'll go with Poison Dreads. The melee part here is not important. So yeah, that's pretty decent. We will probably do worse with the mages. Alright, so now, okay, the same matchup actually, so we'll go Poison Dreads again. And yeah, we did similarly. These are pretty good losses, but again, remember this is the easiest tournament there is, even though we didn't put up too many boosts. So this one again, well, that's straight up mage, no counter units to mages, and Blossom Princesses would be a natural choice because heavy melee. We can certainly go with range unit, but that's not going to give us anything. We're going to get one counter unit. Yeah, you see this one is pretty good. Alright, so we are almost 2/3 in. So okay, another one, no counter units here for the mages, so we'll go with mages. And again, if we have 50-50 heavies here, we definitely go with Blossom Princesses. Yeah, we did have some loss, but again, that's very, very mild. So far, things actually have been looking better than I expected for that stage. But we still have the whole page of provinces. Okay, again, that's one of the not amazing matchups. So we can go with mages, but we have two counter units. One of them is, and now we get into 3-star units against us, light ranged. Mistwalker, who is really good against mages. So, and another one, the thief, who is decent against mages. So mages, maybe we can go with Elder Trend, which is not a bad idea. Actually, sorry, most likely I will go with Valorians here, because they would be good against heavy range. They would be decent against heavy melee. They would be good, pretty good against light melee as well. And the Mistwalkers are not particularly good against light ranged. Sorry, against heavy melee. Alternatively, we can go with one of the heavy ranged units, but again, well, we have two units that they would do well against. We have two that they're comparable, and one which is probably, even despite being counter unit, is kind of okay. So this one is a kind of a coin toss between the Golem in this case for heavy range and the Valorians, and I'll probably try to go with Valorians here. Need to use these melee units. As you can see, okay, that's what you can see for these awkward matchups, especially if you go with melee. But I can assure you, going golems wouldn't make this much better. We're getting into territory that the enemy has substantial squad sizes, even relative to our own, and in absolute terms as well. So that was not an amazing matchup, but you will see those. Not as many in this tournament type, but yeah, a lot more in the subsequent ones. Okay, against we have a lot of heavy melee, and we have a Hellhound against us, so we're not going with the mages, so we're going with Poison Dreads. And that was pretty good. For Province 17 for sure. Alright, 18. Let's see, okay, no counter units for mages here, that's when we go with Blossom Princesses. So Blossom Princesses did really well here. So now what we are going to is province number 19. Okay, so here we go again. Okay, so this one is relatively straightforward. We can go mages, but there's a Hellhound, which is really good against mages, and then we have the regular Archer, which is pretty decent against mages. So we are going Poison Dreads again, so we'll do really well against heavy melee. We'll do okay against Archers, and we'll actually do relatively okay against Hellhounds, because nominally the light melee are good against light range, but these are not light range specialists. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. Some losses, but relatively small. Okay, so province number 20. That's kind of where it starts to get really dicey. And again, that's actually, I think, pretty much the same matchup we had the last one. So 3 heavy melee, 1 light range, 1 hellhound. So again, we'll go with Poison Dryad. Yep, against, yeah, losses are higher, and yeah, that's not unusual because remember, every time we go further down, the enemies, even relative to our own squad size, continue to increase. Okay, no counter units for mages, we'll go with mages, even though in this case, we would do relatively well with light range because we also have a boost there, so that's probably a coin flip here. But yeah, you see, it doesn't matter. Blossom Princesses did really well. Alright, so just 3 more provinces for this tournament. Okay. Again, no country units, even though there are 2 mages. I usually go in this case with the one that doesn't have country units, even though there are 2 the same. Well, there are 2 that I kinda light ranges are good against, but 1 counter unit happens to be good against light range, so we'll actually have more losses here. So let's go with Blossom Princess again. And as you can see, we had some losses. If we would have higher damage boost, we'll probably have a little bit less, but again, not much. The reason we have losses here is because the heavy range would manage to hit us from a distance. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, mages is an option. Okay, that's another one of the weird ones, and unfortunately that's one of the highest provinces that we are going to. That's going to be a bummer because we're going to have, relatively speaking, pretty high absolute losses in this encounter, I'm pretty sure. So we can go with the golems for heavy range. Our single counter unit unfortunately is good against heavy range. So that's not ideal. We can go with heavy melee, which is not ideal in general, going melee, and that would be just 2 units that it's good against. One is okay against, and then this one is good against heavy melee, and this one is, well, range to initiative. Yeah, not amazing idea. 3 heavies, mage, but also Mistwalker. This one is not amazing, so yeah, this one is not great, no matter how you look at that. So let's see, definitely not going heavy melee, so either mage, let's see, yeah, and these 2 are good against light range, so I'm not going with the light range either. So should I go with the mages? I can probably go with the mages, or you know that in these cases, okay, let's put it like that. If I would have damage boost for the mages, I'll probably go with mages, Blossom Princess. Because I don't, I'll likely go range, heavy range in this case. The loss is not going to be pretty, but yeah, I see in this case we actually even had defeat. Well, that's good actually, because that's can show you that that can happen, and that actually would be pretty big loss out there in absolute terms. So let's see if we can do the same, well, the same as in if Blossom Princesses would do okay. Nope, and you can see that's actually even worse. So from that perspective, that definitely didn't work out. So let's see, what else can we do? We can try to do the Orc Strategist, because Orc Strategists do really well against light range. They're not amazing against comparable units. And yeah, these ones they wouldn't be generally be good against, except that they have range while the heavy melee doesn't. So let's try this one. Just to show you that, yeah, you see like some weird matchups do happen. Yeah, you see, so this one does work. Even though there's still quite significant losses here, so we're looking at 40, almost 50% losses, but that's still a heck of a lot better than 100% losses in 2 previous matchups, even though they were supposed to be pretty decent. Well, that didn't quite work out. So Strategist worked really well here, but keep in mind that again, further on you go, they tend to be relatively squishy unless there is a lot of light range units that they're excellent against. That's why generally that wasn't my first choice here, given the two comparables. And yeah, this one is okay, so the only one country unit is basically... so we can go either Blossom Princess or Poison Dryad. I think I'll go Poison Dryad because we have a damage boost there. And yeah, and that worked okay. Not amazing, but okay. And that's basically it. So we have done 24 provinces in Marble Tournament, 5-star stage. That's as far as I would normally go. So then I will just do 9 with around 6 just to pick the last goodies in here. I certainly don't care about the broken shards and random runes. So yeah, so in terms of the actual losses, I'll post it on the website in the consolidated post for comparison with the previous tournament, this tournament, different tournament types or relic types for tournaments, and you can see. So this one is still the lowest amount of losses. You would do better, obviously, if you put more boosts, you can. If you put another, let's say, mage booster and or health boost and or ELR, even one of these, you will definitely can coast for the 24 provinces for 5 stars without any defeats. That's I know that for a fact. I did it with just an extra mage booster, the same UUU plus ELR, and yeah, there were no losses, not even close. But with low boosts, even relatively straightforward and easiest tournament out there, yeah, you can still get defeats later on if you... as you can see, that's still doable, but you need to be on point in terms of unit selection, and sometimes, and quite often, it's not obvious in these awkward matchups. But with that, if you enjoy the content, hit the like, subscribe, and hold on to more episodes in the other tournament types that I intend to put up out there. And let me know in the comments what you agree, what you disagree, what you like, what you dislike, and so on and so forth. And check out the post on my website, link would be in the description, where I'll put some additional information in a chart or table or some form, so you can take a look at that. And with that, I'll see you next time. See ya.